Audi is very rarely late to the party these days. It's usually at the very forefront of new technology and new markets, opening up niches within niches and establishing itself as one of the most dynamic global car makers around. When it came to large SUVs though, Audi played something of a late ball. You see, while other premium car makers like Mercedes and BMW had been building big cars for big families for years, Audi didn't have anything to offer in this growing market. That is until 2006, when it launched its Q7 SUV. And so now there's this, the new Audi Q7. This car faces strict competition from premium rivals like the Volvo XC90, BMW X5 and Range Rover Sport, but also from the numerous other 7-seat SUVs which frankly cost a lot less to buy. To compete here then, this Q7 needs to justify its premium price tag. So how does it fare? Keep watching to find out. There are 4 engine options to choose from in the Audi Q7, and as you might expect for a car of this size, the focus is on diesels. There are multiple versions of the same engine in fact, and you can have the 3-litre diesel in either 215 or 268 brake horsepower forms. There's also a hybrid version of the Q7 badged as the e-tron, and that gets the higher output 3-litre diesel mated with an electric motor. If you're looking for a performance-oriented version of this car, then you can go for the range-topping SQ7. This gets a 4-litre V8 diesel, which is blisteringly quick, but it's also fairly pricey. Too overpriced, in fact, for a family SUV, so we'd recommend sticking with the 3-litre diesels. To be fair though, no version of the Q7 feels slow, and even the entry-level diesel which we've got in this car provides enough pace. It's also beautifully refined, and you'll only really hear the engine under hard acceleration. Fuel economy is pretty impressive too. Ultimately though, it's the more powerful version of the 3-litre diesel which we recommend. With 268 brake horsepower available, there is a lot more low-end pulling power, and that's great if you plan on towing. It also means you barely need to touch the accelerator to make good progress. Be warned though that there is a slight hit in terms of fuel economy and CO2. Even with this entry-level diesel engine though, if I put my foot down, we can still get up to speed quickly. All Q7s come with the same 8-speed automatic gearbox. It works well, giving smooth and quick changes up the range and also shifting down quickly. The Q7's standard suspension setup is pretty forgiving, but it can be a little bit firm around town. If you can afford to, we recommend upgrading to the optional air suspension, which really transforms the Q7 into the best riding car in this class. Go for larger alloy wheels and the ride is still comfortable, and that's something that can't be said for every large SUV. Now, this isn't really a sort of car you're going to buy for great handling, but the Q7 does offer plenty of grip, and its standard 4-wheel drive system gives you extra traction on greasy roads. There is a lot of body roll through the corners though, and the Q7 can feel like a bit of a barge. In fact, rivals like the Volvo XC90 and BMW X5 are more fun to drive quickly. In the driver's seat of the Audi Q7 is a very nice place to be. You get this fully electric driver's seat, which is standard on every Q7. Now on SE models you get supportive seats anyway, but on this upgraded S-Line car we've got these sport seats which are more heavily bolstered, and they're designed to keep you stable through the corners. You should be comfortable on long journeys too, because the steering wheel, seat and pedals are all well aligned, and all of these controls fall close to hand. Now, one of the big selling points of large SUVs is visibility, and in the Q7 there's a commanding view over the road ahead, and even though looking out of the back window is obstructed by the car's relatively big rear pillars, front and rear parking sensors are standard on every model. Now, if you do feel you need more help with parking, then a reversing camera and a self-parking system are both on the options list. We reckon though the majority of drivers will be fine without them. Audi's MMI infotainment system is second only to BMW's iDrive when it comes to ease of use, and it's easy to set a destination in the sat-nav or to pair your mobile phone via Bluetooth. Every car gets this 8.3-inch screen here on top of the dashboard, and it's controlled by this rotary dial down here on the center console. There's also a touchpad which can recognize your handwriting, and that's especially useful for setting a destination or postcode in the sat-nav. Now you can also get Audi's virtual cockpit display, which replaces the car's conventional dials with this second configurable screen, and it puts all the most relevant information, including the sat-nav map, right in the driver's field of vision, meaning you can keep your attention firmly on the road. It's standard on the SQ7 and on the e-tron versions of the Q7, but is optional elsewhere, and it's something we'd recommend looking at. So let's see how easy it is, firstly, to pair our mobile phone via Bluetooth. In the car, I go to, there we go, and go to telephone, and it's going to ask me to connect a mobile phone. If I click that, it's going to ask that Bluetooth is activated on my phone. It is, and now it's searching for my phone using the car. It's found it straight away, and it's just going to ask me now to pair the phone here, check that both pin numbers are the same. They are. Say yes, and wait for it. There we go. I've now got full access to my mobile phone, so I can make calls and play music over Bluetooth. There's also a USB input down here as well if you don't fancy pairing your phone this way. Secondly, let's see how easy it is to set a destination in the sat-nav. So for this, I'm going to select nav here down there, go to the menu, and it's going to ask me where I'd like to go. I'm going to use the touchpad for this because it really is quite easy to do, and I'm going to set the sat-nav to go to our offices in Twickenham. Now if I simply start writing T, W, there we go, it's already filled in Twickenham for me. If I select OK and just select the centre of the town, start route guidance.
The routes are being calculated.
As you can hear, the routes are being calculated. Now, like most sat-navs, it's going to give me 3 different options here. One will be the fastest route, one the most economical, and one that will take the shortest time. If we just select the first option, there we go, it's all set up. And if I've got Audi's virtual cockpit display, then I just navigate to the sat-nav map here, and there it is, right in front of me. If I then want to get rid of the second screen, then all I have to do is press this button here on the center console, and this 8.3-inch screen, it disappears into the car. When it comes to coping with people and clutter, the Audi Q7 is one of the best in the business. There's masses of space here in the front, and even those over 6 feet tall will find they've got plenty of room to get comfortable. There's also plenty of storage space. Each of these door bins will take a 1.5 litre bottle. And there's other space dotted around too. There's a tray here on the center console which has one of those grippy rubberized mats to keep all of your odds and ends in place. There's also 2 cup holders down here next to the gear lever, and if you want even more, there's a small tray here in front of the center console and some more space under the armrests, and of course you've got the traditional glove box as well. Getting to this middle row of seats, and there's still more than enough space back here. 3 adults will be able to sit on this rear bench in comfort, even over longer journeys, and each of these seats slides forward and reclines by itself, so you can maximize loading room. Even if you're sitting in the Q7's rearmost seats, you won't find it too cramped as long as you're under 6 foot. Most of the time though, those seats are likely to be folded down, and that's an easy operation. It extends the loading area of the car, and you can fold the seats up and down using buttons in the boot. In 5-seat form, the Q7's boot is fairly vast, and there's easily enough space here for a couple of large suitcases or for a pram, which helpfully you can load lengthways like this. You also get these lashing eyes in either corner of the boot, and that's to help you tie down items which might be willing to come adrift when you're on the move. Now, with all 7 seats in place, there's still enough room for a couple of small suitcases, or if you want to turn your Q7 into a van, then dropping all 5 seats creates a truly massive loading area. Things are looking good for the Q7 then, but there's still one final hurdle to overcome. Can this premium large SUV make sense financially? The Q7 is priced above the Volvo XC90, but it's still cheaper than the Range Rover Sport. It's also worth remembering that there are discounts to be found at dealers if you're prepared to haggle, and the Q7 will hold on to its value at least as well as other cars in this class. Insurance costs are likely to be higher than the class average though, and because of the Q7's 6 and 8-cylinder engines, its running costs will also be higher. In terms of safety, the Q7 received a full 5-star rating from Euro NCAP, when it was tested in 2015. Now, as standard, you do get a lot of equipment on SE models of the Q7, including satellite navigation, xenon headlights, a powered tailgate, and dual-zone climate control. And while the S-Line car we've got here gets extra luxuries, including sport seats, rear climate control, a more aggressive bodywork and larger alloy wheels, the price jump is substantial. Now, if you're looking at the Q7's options list and wondering what to buy, we'd recommend going for the adaptive air suspension and also Audi's virtual cockpit display. If you're a nervous parker, then Audi's Park Assist Pack might be worth a look too. The truth is, though, that few other large SUVs offer drivers such a relaxing blend of performance and refinement as the Audi Q7. It is beautifully built inside and out and is a joy to live with. If you've got your heart set on a premium large SUV, then the Q7 deserves not only to be on your shortlist, but at the very top of it. Now, for plenty more on the Audi Q7, including our full online review, head to whatcar.com.